xIceblue getting magic all the way around. Tristal missing out on a caster because of the thief decision.
Yeah, but I question if the white mage is gonna be necessary for this seed, though.
Well, as soon as they get started, we'll get a quick look at the magic shops and we'll find out what we're dealing with. Of course, the red mage, jack of all trades, master of none.
Ooh, Bane is in the black magic, while white magic was not that much.
Cure 2, not a horrendous thing, but really only early game useful, but you get a lot of casts out of it, so... But having to use Bane for your AoE is a little disappointing in the first level because, you know, well, it's not going to do guaranteed damage, so against these imps you're taking your chances, but Bane does its job nicely.
By the way, item shop has the bottle in Ternaria.
It'll also be interesting to see if we have the runners pick up any kind of equipment, maybe to put on the red mage. Silver bracelets for sale here. You might be back for some of those if you get a large amount of money.
But the prices on the houses are way too expensive for my blood.
Wow. Cheap softs, though, that's not bad. The heals are a really good price, but wow, the cost of those houses. You know, normally you come out of Volcano with more money than you could ever spend for the rest of the game. That might not be an issue this one. And good time to mention that enemy scripts are shuffled in this round of the tournament, so you see something perfectly innocent looking like the bones, and for all you know, they're going to fire out nuke or crack or something crazy like that.
By the way, Tristal's doing the going to Garland first instead of going for the treasure chest.
It's an interesting strat, maybe doing that because it's a little limited on resources and without the AoE spells, and maybe thinking after Provoca, maybe something will be a little bit better. xIceblue going to go the opposite way. So if he gets an AoE item like Thor's Hammer, Zeus Gauntlet, Mage Staff, that could be a little bit of an advantage. Black shirt is ice too, that'll do it.
And plus, Black shirt is very good against the waters that are coming up in Sea Shrine later on in the run.
And also good in the Volcano. Though I don't think Tristal will leave that for too long. My guess is he wants to see the shop and Provoca get the boat. And then hopefully come back with a little bit better spell selection.
Oh, this is bad.
Bad enough that xIceblue decides to reset a toxic Garland. This is what happens when you do script shuffle, folks. Do not try this at home on your first playthrough.
That's gotta hurt. And by the way, imps have poison touch.
That's not terribly surprising. They seem to get that a lot. But also, that's going to give Tristal some early minutes to get ahead, considering he got through Garland already. And I'll get corrected on this if I'm wrong, but Chad asking what normally has toxic. Is that the Iron Golems?
I think it's Iron Golems, because I know those are not the Gas Dragons for sure.
Yeah, Gas Dragons are poison. Or toxic, I'm being corrected already. Well, Edge says it's Iron Golems. I believe Edge.
Yeah, knowing Edge, he is the knowledgeable one than some of us here.
Edge, by the way, one of our runners still in the winner's bracket, so he's obviously very good. By the way, Ice 3 was for sale at level 2, so Tristal got exactly what I imagined that he wanted in having that good AoE damage spell. And like we were talking about with the black shirt, the ice element, very useful.
By the way, Harm 3 was in Provoke as well.
And, 3 was in Provoke as well. 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 3 was in
And for chat, where do you predict where the TNT will be at? Place your bets right now.
Someone just arriving asking what they missed so far. You've missed Garland that had Toxic. So xIceblue has gotten by Garland. Did he get the black shirt back out of Temple of Fiends?
You know what? I didn't pay attention to it because I was looking at Tristal's screen, so I'll get back to you on it. Oh wait, xIceblue's having trouble because wolves have cremate.
Yeah, that'll be a day ruiner sometimes. In fact, he's going to quickly reset. Wow, what a difference in what Tristal's seen early versus what xIceblue's seen early.
Oh, and Tristal's heading back to Matoya right now.
Yeah, he didn't go there at first, so this is a play I see runners make. Get the ship first, and then those steps back there are on the water table instead of the land table. It's always an interesting feeling when you see a new monster under this rule set with the script shuffle, because you're never quite sure what they're made of. Do they have something hideously awful, or are they easy? Opal Gauntlet will be of no use to Tristal, so he resets.
No usage, yeah. He just backs out.
But he's saved back by Corneria, so he will walk on back to Temple of Fiends. So even though Tristal was able to get out early, I won't say it doesn't matter, but it was not a big advantage. xIceblue doing a tremendous job running already. Question in chat, what are the forced classes? They are the Red Mage and Black Belt tonight.
Question for you, Trenton. What will you do with Tristal's knowledge right now? Where do you go next after TOF?
Well, he hasn't been to Dwarf yet, so you gotta check for early TNT.
I'm saying for this seed, I'm calling that there is no lazy dwarves.
He wouldn't mind a big money chest either. You've got a quarter of the magic available in the game sitting right there in Elfland, so it's usually a good idea to have a nice pile of money when you go. And we are missing some of the big dog spells, in fact, so something to be mindful of. I don't think we've seen either runner check a weapon shop, by the way. That's a call. Just having a little bit of a sword on that red mage could make a difference in some fights.
Well, there was rapiers back at Corneria though, so they could go for the cheap weapon instead.
But that said, you know you're going to open a lot of chests, and you'll find one eventually. And there's the
floater at Dwarf Cave. Interesting.
And he resets instead of taking that out, and I agree with that, because he's still going to have to go back to Dwarf Cave anyways. So this is just purely saving time on the run, because it's going to take nothing to get that floater back.
That's true, because like, if it was me right now, I would just say reset and go straight to Marsh.
He gets to level 7, which is not a bad level for going into Marsh Cave. The more you have, the better, though. And we're going to go look at the Elfland Magic Tempers here.
Let's see what the White Magic comp will have for level 3. Ooh, Fades! Fades at level 3, and it's at a good slot, too.
Well, good and bad for Tristal, because his red mage can learn it, but xIceblue's got a white mage too, so he gets to double up on the fades. So once xIceblue gets here, he'll have the AoE spell advantage for sure. There's those gold bracelets. Was that 240,000? I couldn't see that fast.
It was 24k. It's kind of cheap.
Okay. The prices in this round, we can't be sure. They go up to 400%. If somebody's quick, it's easy to miss a 0. There's
Ooh,
fast.
Fast at level 4, along with Cure 4.
No Invis 2 in the first 4 levels, no Life Spell in the first 4 levels, and no Nuke in the first 4 levels, kind of our highlight items.
And I'm kind of scared right now because I wonder if Nuke is unlearnable for this seed, especially for a red mage.
So by the way, if you're new to the Final Fantasy 1 Randomizer tournament, you're going to see the runners put down lots of saves. There's a couple reasons. One, it's a safety thing when you don't know what craziness the monsters will roll. And two, if they find any gaps in the RNG table early on that they're able to take advantage of, they'll use it for safer travel.
And I just realized xIceblue has exit on level 2.
He does. He did pick that up before he picked up Ice 3, so won't matter in battle. But hopefully doesn't lead to an accidental casting. That is a preference thing. Some runners like to never put exit or warp in the first of the 3 spell slots for level.
And by the way, TNT was found in the top floor marsh.
So Tristal will finish checking the chests here, and then it's a question of, do you go on with the TNT, or do you check the rest of Marsh? Although that Mage Staff is a pretty nice find as well. Good question, chat. What's required for completion? There's NPC items that are always the same. The items that they're going to have to find are the crown, the slab, the TNT, and help me out with the floater, which we have already found.
And don't forget the key, because that's deadly important as well because of a certain door at TOFFR.
Well, the key comes from the quest chain you get from the crown. I was saying the 4 items that they must find.
Oh yeah, my bad.
Good call, though. An important distinction to make. Oh, I just noticed xIceblue named his White Mage Dan. That's something we should have picked up on earlier.
That is not a good sign.
But he found the Fade, so that might change your strategy a bit.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call my White Mage Dan. I would call him at least Cal.
Tristal has gone out of the Marsh Cave, which he would obviously do just to save instead of continue on, but he has walked that TNT out, and it looks like he's going to move on without checking the south of Marsh.
Yeah, but
could be our first chance for a strategy divergence.
But there is 2 incentive places in order. Which way would you go first after Crescent Lake?
Well, he's got the floater, or he will back in Dwarf Cave when he takes the TNT up there. So he'll pick that up before he has to go to any dungeon.
And I wouldn't mind checking out free chests before heading to a volcano or ice cave.
Yeah, I think it'll come down to, do you find warp in either Crescent Lake or Melmond? If you do, that would make a compelling argument to go to the Ice Cave first. If not, you might still go to Volcano with all those easy chests. And both of these runners of the Black Belt, we don't know whether they plan to do a grind yet or not. Even if it's not something you normally do, you might change strategies in this round. Those silly little wolves with their cremate, trying to get revenge. And Tristal repicks up the floater. So interesting that we found some great items early on if you're lacking in spells. We found the black shirt, which gives you ice. We found the mage staff, which gives you fire.
But the question is, where will you go next? Because that's like a huge divergence right now for these two.
Well, again, I think the biggest question is, do you get warp in one of the two cities that they're going to visit first? Because aside from Ice Cave being able to get to those chests easier with the warp, if you're going to go to Ordeals, the Pillar Shuffle is on, and that becomes almost trivial if you have enough casts of warp, but they're not going to have that many, so maybe wait on Ordeals and do that second.
And by the way, Tristal is on his way to Crescent Lake right now.
Did he do the stop in Melmond, or maybe he's thinking I'll just get the airship first?
He did not stop at Momon whatsoever.
Okay. It is faster to go back with the airship and no fights, so...
Oh, by the way, trolls have Paratouch.
Well, they have to try and live up to their name somehow. I mean, they already get outpaced by the bats in this game. They gotta do something.
Fogtoon in Crescent, and Nuke is in Crescent.
High enough that it's not going to be a lot of casts available. In fact, that's something that could favor Ice. Well, they both have the double black strategy with the red mage and black mage, so Tristal could see a benefit from that later on, but just not enough casts right now.
And it looks like Tristal's to get his airship right in the next few minutes.
Assuming the Hydras will cooperate. Somehow they just have a habit of not wanting to. Welcome to the party, Files. I hope you brought cupcakes for everyone. xIceblue went into Garland and found Toxic as the skill there that Tristal was able to avoid, so that took some time. And
By the
we've
way,
also seen wolves with cremate.
By the way, the Pete's have low HP for this round.
Well, that could be very big, especially depending on where they are in the encounter table. If they're the first or second enemy, that might be something to take advantage of.
Bugsy with the question, I did check level 3 white shop. Oh, Trish just decided to get the rod right now.
Well, it keeps you from having to come back this way, so anything that's within your loop, it's not necessarily a bad idea if it doesn't cost you any time. And Tristal is very good about not wasting time.
I missed what the Tristal got in the timescape. What did he get anyways? I kinda missed it.
I really just saw gold. I'm not sure if I missed something because it didn't even look like high amounts, but he walked out with it. Maybe he just felt like it was enough. So there is warp at level 5, but it's really expensive.
Too expensive for my blood to buy it at this point. And Tristal's heading to Cardio Islands. Let's see what the islands serve him.
And being asked how Tristal pulled away so fast, well, he really hasn't. He's maybe 2 minutes ahead of xIceblue's pace right now because of that wipe against Garland. but here he is. He just opened up the canal. He's got the floaters, so very similar so far, aside from that one white. And we're getting a look at the Cardia Island treasures now. There's a ribbon. He will obviously walk that out. 3 ribbons available in the game.
By the way, Tristal's taking the Sphinx fight. I wonder if it's actually good EXP or not.
2,500 a pop isn't bad. Probably anything this high level, getting multiple instances of it, is going to be a level up for his party, so that may have been the decision. Because he is only level 10. Vanilla game, you'd be a little bit higher here. XIceBlue's got to fight against the Peds now.
He's gonna be very happy how low the HP is for the Peds.
Low HP, but high evade. That, the black belt did not hit for much at all. But Ice 3 is plenty to take care of them. Tristan's about to give us a look at the rest of what's here in the islands, just seeing gold. Couple more chests here. Ribbon definitely the highlight of what we found in treasure chests so far.
Yeah, the ribbon's the only thing that was worth it in the islands. Everything else was just high gold.
Yeah, but he's gonna walk that gold out. Having not grinded yet, that might even be enough to get him that warp. We found warp back in Melmond, so that would make Ice Cave a bit easier, and you asked me where I would go next, and I guess for me the follow the logic says take that warp and take it to Ice Cave.
But does he have charges for level 5 right now, or not yet?
Well, EX speeds are easy. You only need 1. XIceblue just has to get in 1 extra fight on the way to the airship. Just have to do things the difficult way. Now, by the way, I find this very interesting about XIceBlue's strategy so far. Aside from the fact he's got that white mage down with the fade spell, he chose the white mage to bring to his party, because our first were black belt and red mage. So he chose the white mage and then dropped it. And has not revived.
Could it be he just saving it for maybe as a meat shield?
And Catmans have Scorch. Oh, it looks like he is going to go early ordeals.
The gamble of this is the Files gamble move right here.
It's a little bit further walk when you have the airship, but probably pretty neutral on time, considering you don't get the encounters at sea.
The only thing I'll be worried about is how many warp charges he has for this one.
Well, warp makes it easy if you've got a bunch of charges. If you don't, you can always find out the first couple locations and then reset and start over if you have missed too many.
By the way, Argoyles have Fire 2.
Those gargoyles, they just have a habit of being some of the worst for me. And our first look at the zombies. That's the
Apparently
most
they
terrifying
have.
skill they could have. There's our route divergence. Now both these places are incentivized, so that means in ordeals, you've got the chest next to the zombie dragons. That's the one that will have something. We don't know what that something will be yet. And xIceblue will be looking for the chest that you're used to being guarded by the eye, which again will have something. We don't know what just yet. The possibilities, you want to run through those real fast?
Well, at least the zombies are not that terrible, though.
File saying it would be funny if Crown is in one of these chests and Slab is in the other. That's certainly a possibility. And Tristal has navigated the pillar maze only to get the red gargoyles, which we will have to hope he's able to get away from, and he does. That's why he's got the thief first.
Ooh, and nightmares have poison touch as well. And they hit hard, too.
And you don't even want to know what their evade is. Because you give those things 300% evade? Oh my. So we're getting our look at these chests here. And xIceblue working through a few more fights along the way. Dragon armor, not helpful with this party composition. The incentivized chest has the crown. You called it,
Ow.
Files.
Wow.
You called half of it. And now we get a look at the zombie dragon, which could be very interesting. If it's weak, then maybe Tristal will have ideas, but it looks like it's not weak enough to really consider. At least 300 HP. I don't think at these levels he'd be considering doing too much here. Well, this is why I shouldn't try and guess what the runners are doing. That zombie dragon hits pretty good.
If I was Tristal, I would run out right now.
Well, it looks like that's what he's decided to do. And it looks like xIceblue has noped out of the ice cave. So I'm sorry, but I didn't see what caused that decision, but he must have run into something nasty.
I didn't see what he ran into that caused his spookum to do that.
Yeah, the only way he would abandon ship like that is if he saw a relatively common enemy with something really unpleasant. It looks like he's gonna go ordeals now. Okay, chat bails us out. Images had fire 3. That would do it.
Oh, that's gonna hurt him hard. And Tristal's gonna do the crown chain.
Well, why not? More free treasures. And maybe you'll find something that'll help you out in the ice cave, like another ribbon, which is, I imagine, his next destination, but he might nope out of it after he sees what xIceblue did.
Well, Tristal's levels are a little bit higher than xIceblue, so I say he might go to ice more than volcano.
question in chat if Ordeals is incentivized in these flags. Yes, they are. Starting in round 4, Ordeals joins the Ice Cave in being incentivized.
Trenton, question for you. What would you do if you have the crown and done the crown change? Would you go straight to Astos' castle first after Elfland, or would you go straight to Corneria?
I'm buying into the wraparound strats that people do, which is basically skip Marsh, but you do Astos, Dwarfs, Corneria. And you could throw in Temple of Fiends if you really feel like it.
Well, we'll see what the key unlocks for Elfland gives us.
Oh, it's the wooden sword. That's a game changer right there. It's all over. No, just kidding. Nothing to write home about. Files saying that Terralyn is doing a great job for us on tracking, so thank you, Tara. So I imagine what we're... Well, I should be careful about trying to guess what runners are going to do. But...
Well, let's see what's happening at Astos' castle right now.
Crystal has got the 3 treasure chests here he's able to get easily.
Tail?
Well, the game just hands him the tail.
Now the question is, would you class change for the seed?
I mean, if he's going to keep that thief alive, the difference that we've seen in Magic so far, you could have an extra chance at Bane, but we also saw Temper and Fast, so I think that's too valuable not to if you're planning to run a full 4 party here instead of 3. The Power Gauntlet is here in the Dwarf Cave.
So Dwarves had the Power Bunk after all.
What a Dwarf Cave! It had Floater and Power Gauntlet.
Yeah, it did.
So the only question to me is if you are going to solo grind the black belt like we've seen a lot of runners do in this tournament, you wouldn't want a class change until after you did that.
At least grind it to at least level 42, so you still have that good magic defense with it.
Yeah. And now even if that's not your normal play as a runner, and there's people who don't like to do it, and I fully understand, but we're talking enemy stats at 300% in this seed, potentially up to 300% of maximum, so you could be talking about some really high evade things late game that you just need that strong hitter to get by. Especially when you haven't found a good sword yet, like Masamune, Sun Sword, something like that.
I would highly put the Vorpal to find first before the Excalibur, not Excalibur since they have no fighter. I would put Vorpal or Masamune on high priority for my thief.
So 7 Force asking in chat if Garland knocked them all down yet. Well, I have a surprise for you. Yes, in fact, Garland did knock down xIceblue party. He had to reset and do it again.
Never thought I'll see the day that Garland would have Toxic.
When there's a chance for everything, you're eventually gonna see it.
Meanwhile, Trista's just finding some stuff in TOF.
And xIceblue has taken a very similar route here, although he did try to do the divergence by going to Ice Cave first, just that play didn't work.
By the way, nothing at TOF that's not noteworthy.
Alright, so good chance we will either see the play for the large amount of chests here in Volcano or the incentivized chest in Ice Cave.
And Tristal decides to go for the volcano route.
Bunch of early treasure chests here you can possibly get something good out of. You can also test the waters, see what enemies are like, and see if you want to get any thing out of them. And oh no, we didn't see it coming, it was Astos all along. The seed being generous early on with giving you a bunch of money, but not necessarily what you're looking for. Meanwhile, that worm just decides to one-shot his black belt, and it forces a reset because he doesn't have life.
Plus, we have not seen the life spell yet. It could be at level 7 or level 8 at this point.
I actually thought we saw life, but not life 2. Could be wrong on that. Yeah, chat saying life is at level 5. But Tristal has no white mage.
But isn't life in the one of the slots that the Red Wiz can learn, or no?
I didn't see which slot it's in, but hopefully somebody will bail us out. And Tristal gets the cape that the professionals use. And there's the slab, so that's why you check the lots of chests in.
And it looks like the slab was not being in the ice cave, so ice cave is considerably not worth going there anymore.
Well, that would narrow the options to the ruby, which obviously would not be needed, the Masamune, or a ribbon.
Out of those three, I think it's gonna be a troll, it's gonna be a ruby and ice cave.
I think for me it would boil down to whether or not you have that warp spell. You can check that chest so much easier, and if you don't like it, you can just nope and leave. Now in xIceBlue's case, I understand not making that play until you have higher levels, but for Tristal, he doesn't know it's in that ice cave yet, so... If I found myself in his shoes, I would wonder what happened to mine, and then that's probably the play I would make.
Man, these fighters might have rolled high HP though.
So there's life at level 5, it's in the first slot. Question chat, how did Ice not have exit? Well, money. Let's think about the randomizer. You struggle early, and then you've got way too much of it late. But when is that not true in an RPG?
I can say one RPG, that would be Final Fantasy Mystic Quest.
Oh, so where are we? We're like 40 minutes in here. That's a good time for a little bit of a recap. We are playing the first match under round 4 flags between xIceblue and Tristal. These are two of our top-ranked racers in the current SRL standings. Tristal is number 2, xIceblue is number 8. They had 2 forced party members, the Red Mage and the Black Belt. Enemy stats are up to 300%, prices are up to 400% in Corneria. They have the bottle for sale they'll have to go back for. In Provoca, it's just spells. In the Dwarf Cave, we found the floater in the open chests, the Power Gauntlet in the key-locked chests. In Elf, nothing in the key-locked chests. In Marsh was the TNT. The Cardia Islands had one of the ribbons. Ordeals in the incentivized chest had the crown. Astos had the tail locked away in his castle, and here in the volcano, we have found the slab.
would you consider Tristal in kind of like in semi-go mode at this point?
I suppose he has the required items and he even has the tail, so I suppose it would come down to high density treasure chests or convenient ones.
Someone in chat said, did Tristal pick up the chest where he's fighting the fires right now? I think he did.
Well, here's the EXPs, and a 4-pack of them is going to be really appreciated right now. Of course, I say that and they resist the first cast of ice. And has Tristal decided to grab a couple levels off these fires?
That's what I'm seeing right now, but these fires have a lot of HP though than normal.
That's an interesting decision, but he also hasn't seen any ugly skills out of them, so that could play in the decision as well. Here's the red gargoyles, never fun. Or at least if they are, I just haven't seen it yet.
Well, the gargoyles have fire too, so it's not gonna be that fun.
So I'd have to assume that we're going to see both runners. Well, I don't want to assume anything. Let's just see what happens.
Exactly, because I haven't seen any of the Agamas yet, but they have packing.
Yeah, you have so many possible grinding options here in the volcano. Fires are usually one of the last results. The Agamas are well known for their grinding potential because you have the 2 trap tiles back to back. You also have the red dragon, which if he doesn't roll anything nasty, he can be quite nice. Question chat, what does the black shirt do again? It is a free cast of Ice 2, so ice damage to the enemy party.
Will, you might want to ask Artea about that question.
So xIceblue has checked the treasure chests, he's gonna save, and he's out of there. But right back in. Never a bad call when you get a major item like that to go ahead and save it.
And Tristal's still grinding these fires like no tomorrow.
Well, chance for xIceblue to get an advantage if he gets to the Agamas first and finds they're quite pleasant. Or he may find they're quite nasty because it's been that kind of seed for him.
Well, he just ran to unrunnable right now.
And Ogres, over 200 HP for sure.
And they have gaze.
Somewhere in the 260 range for each of them, so... Wow. I'm guessing 350 range, I think, for health.
At least 350 in my opinion, yeah. By the way, chat, please, if you really predict where xIceblue's gonna get next, maybe some bad Agamas, maybe they have, I don't know, maybe Nuke, or he just found the Opal Bracelet just now.
That is a very nice find, and I think we'll see Tristal get that treasure chest because it's so easy, you're walking right by it. That's the kind of thing even in Go mode. you'd go ahead and take a look for because they're easy to get to. So now Tristal is bypassing the fires and going on after he's got a few more levels. As xIceblue gets the ring that the professionals use.
We didn't see any pro rings in the shop yet, right?
I don't believe so. We're still missing 3 shops, though. No, I'm sorry, only 2 for Pro Ring possible. Opal Shield for the fighter you don't have. Hey, I called something right for Tristal. He did get the Opal Bracelet.
Ed Sheeran used it.
Alright, Agamas, what are you packing? Will we even find out? Looks like their evade is low. And maybe their hit percentage is pretty low as well, but their HP seems to be very high.
I'd say at least beyond 400.
And there's a hit of over 100 damage, so I would be thinking this is not the best place for a low level fight. I would certainly check the Red Dragon first.
I agree with you on that one too.
I'm not saying I wouldn't go back to them, but I would certainly check this Red Dragon first. And he's gonna run from this Magma. Now Tristal did get more levels before coming up here, so he's gonna have a little bit tougher party against Zagmas, and that could make a difference. And
Whoa! Red D's at 170 HP at least.
didn't see any scary spells out of him.
I didn't see nothing out of that guy either, so he's probably gonna think he's gonna grind under Red D.
We'll take another look at least. And it's down. So he's making a compelling argument here. Boy, when you can get past him that fast. Now the difference in doing this Red Dragon fight versus doing the Agamas is really is the double trap tile versus the single trap tile. So he can still get random encounters on that second tile he's walking onto, and that could be something unpleasant. Though we haven't seen anything terribly scary that I recall so far.
Yeah, not even the Wisp Ogres are not even that scary either.
So he shuffles his party around, which helps set up the Black Belt to be a little bit better protected. And Tristal's about to get his first look at these Red Dragons.
He's gonna be very happy when he finds out that the Red Dragons have nothing on them.
Yeah, so he just did 260 damage to take it out. And he's going to reorder his party, so I'm guessing we're going to see a few levels here as well. xIceblue gets his Black Mage down. Now, even though we see both runners taking this fight a lot, there's still some unknowns here. We don't know if Tristal will want levels for all 3 of his people or just the black belt. We don't know how high xIceblue might go with this, so some interesting questions still to be answered. So while they work on this, question in chat if xIceblue has caught up, and absolutely he has. They're high-fiving now in the same fight, basically, although xIceblue got here first, but they have the same progression items, although apparently xIceblue hasn't picked up the rod yet, but that's not a major difference. They've been to the same places, with the exception that xIceblue went into the volcano and found out it was not quite friendly just yet. It will be interesting to see if we see either runner go back in there technically in go mode, but you know that that chest has something, and it could easily be the Masamune or a ribbon at this point.
Question in chat: is the luck of the black mage nearly the same as a thief? And my answer is probably lesser than a thief, in my opinion.
Well, Files has got some great documentation on this, and he's linked to that, so. There's more data on this game available than you can even believe. And if someone could kindly give us the Discord link, that's always a great place to ask questions about anything you have, because there's such an amount of knowledge available.
Plus we have a new player channel on that Discord, so if you want some help on the randomizer, we are happy to help you out. Triton, question for you, my friend. How long would you grind in the volcano in xIceblue shoes if you were in xIceblue shoes right now?
I gotta do 42. I just have to. I'm looking at that 300% stats, and I'm just thinking, okay, it's about a 2-to-1 bias that enemy stats are gonna roll higher instead of lower. Because if you think about it, if they're going up to 200% down to 50%, there's twice as many options, so that always works out. It's about a 2-to-1 bias that things will roll up. So if you think about upper third stats, middle third stats, and lower third stats, that means you should theoretically see an average of 1 Fiend of the final 3 between Kraken 2, Tiamat 2, and Chaos. One of them, odds are, will roll those high stats. And if they do, I do not want to have to get out of Temple of Fiend to grind again. So, if I were against either one of these runners, I know I would be at such a skill gap that I would automatically go 42. I wouldn't consider anything less.
Well, if I was against xIceblue, I would definitely go to 42, no questions asked.
And it's been this ongoing debate about how much time you invest in the grinding, but we have seen, just with enemy runaways, you make up so much time that this grind really seems to come out to be pretty time neutral.
And the funny thing is, it makes Earth Cave more trivial than usual.
And a question if at some point they'll stop attacking the dragons and go punch the lizards, which I assume is the Agmas. I don't think so. I think they'll stick with the red dragon all the way. Because it would cost more steps to walk down there than you'd save walking back and forth between the 2 tiles. And a great question in chat, what's special about 42? It's number of attacks that the black belt gets, among other things.
Yeah, a 10-hit black belt with a lot of damage increasing? Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that chance.
And the other big difference is the magic defense. The black belt is gaining magic defense with every level. So I believe that number is 5. If you talk about an extra 10 levels, you're adding 50 magic defense, which could be very valuable. Well, they're saying
Acco-
4 pro
it's
levels.
4. It's 4.
Four.
It's 4. It's 4.
Also asked if the Master is worse than the Black Belt in Randomizer. Well, he's worse in gaining magic defense, but if you've already gained the levels, then it wouldn't matter, so... If you're level 42, you'd have no fear in leveling from Black Belt to Master. Great questions in chat tonight.
Yeah, these questions are really going crazy on it, too.
Asking if there's FF emotes for Twitch? Well, there's certainly at least one.
I believe there's 2 because I remember Edge has 1 and Gyro has 1.
The other big thing about the high-level Black Belt is, I don't know the exact threshold for this, but it seems like it might be 38, 39, or 40. You start seeing a lot more things run away from you. So you could get ambushed and then have everything run away before you even take an action, which is a ridiculous increase in speed. So, very useful. And is there any danger for the Black Belts getting killed before they get to 42? There is absolutely a danger that their Black Belts could get killed. They could run into something very nasty, although we've seen a pretty good selection of the enemies in here. I think we've seen everything other than carry, but not that long ago we saw one of our runners do a Black Belt grind, walk up to the top floor, get nailed by Stone Touch, and lost 20 minutes of work.
And don't forget, they're not immune to Death Touch.
So yes, the threats still abound. If you were really paranoid, you could walk out, but also the higher level you are, likely you're going first. And as long as it's a single enemy, you're probably attacking first. By the time the runners get to carry, it'd be pretty more remarkable to not see them one-shot carry. And being asked that they're grinding on the red dragon, what did the Agmas have? The Agmas, more than anything, had high HP. And they were hitting pretty decently, as I recall, but high HP, this was a much more friendly fight, so... Personally, I'm always going to test the waters on this before I start a grind, and if I had found the same thing these runners did, I'd have made the same play.
And it looks like we called it right, because xIceblue is going to 42, actually.
And now the trouble for him is low heal potions. So he's hoping not to take too many hits.
I can see him exit out around maybe level 35 at least.
You could, and then count on getting the other levels before you get into Temple of Fiends, because that's the one place where you'd really need those extra levels. But again, he just doesn't want to take too many hits here because you'd like to have full life before you go into carry just because. There's some spells that depend on your HP, and if it's under 400, that could be bad. And Tristal, it looks like, is going to take level 32 and leave.
Now there's the bigger question, can xIceblue make a comeback with his levels though? Because his is a little bit higher than Tristal's right now.
It'll be an interesting question, and xIceblue has ducked out, so he's got more levels. Won't get 42, and I think that just boils down to the heal potions. He just doesn't have enough to keep going.
And I can't blame him for that, for bouncing out without the amount of pushes he needed.
So he's actually going to get to carry first. That's interesting. Was that 36 or 38 for his level? 36?
I think it's 36 if I'm not mistaken, but we could see his status after he revives.
So So we're about 1 hour in, and these runners are technically in go mode. I believe they have both gotten a ribbon. They both have the required items and still have to do the dungeons to get the orbs. I think we'll still see them check some treasure chests, and the interesting call ahead of them is, do you go to Ice Cave? Because you know it's not a required item, but you still know it's incentivized, so your worst case result would be a ruby. Did they already find the adamant, actually? Because I didn't write that down without a fighter.
No, they have not found the adamant. That's like one of the 4 remaining items that are left in the incentivized chest.
Okay, so you have 2 bad options and 2 good ones. Because it could be the ribbon or the moss immune. And adamant and ruby. And that is not the direction of the ice cave, so it looks like the answer is no for Tristal. And as to Tristal class change now, I can't see why he wouldn't.
Meanwhile, xIceblue is actually getting in his rod. Ooh, route divergence right now. xIceblue decided to go to Earth.
Yeah, I don't think the route diversions are going to be too significant. Just because being in go mode, you're going to probably check the same treasure chests. So if they were still looking for something, I'd be a little more excited about it, but xIceblue will probably get this orb faster than Tristal will get through Sea Shrine, but then you'll have the same time investment. To me, the most fascinating thing will be if one of them checks treasure chests, the other one doesn't. Like this one, for example, which xIceblue does take a pass on. And some wizards, which are unrunnable. Looks like they have pretty low HP, though. So they wouldn't have been so bad in the Marsh Cave, except they didn't really have anything great to deal with. Tristal does take the class change, which is going to give him access to more magic.
And get your red pajamas out, everyone. Red ninjas are coming in.
And he'll be hoping to find a katana now, too. And oh, by the way, don't forget to go to the waterfall and pick up the cube. Because that would be bad. And everybody get ready for the most terrifying, fear-inspiring, other hype terms that I can't think of right now because I wasn't prepared for this in advance. Most dangerous monster in the game, the immortal vampire.
And say goodbye to the vampire, everyone.
Bye, vampire. He's so evil, he robbed you of an item shop and a clinic to restore your party members, but we got our revenge.
Question in chat, is there temper in 1 through 4? Yes, there is, actually. I believe temper was level 4 or level 2.
Let me see. I didn't write it down, but I believe we did see it in Elf.
Yeah, it was an elf, but I don't remember which level it was. It was 3 or 4.
Yeah. And xIceblue did not opt to check the vampire chests, so he's going for as quick movements as he can get, it looks like. Chat saying temper was at 3, fast was at 4. That sounds good enough to me. Buy it.
I'll buy it.
And literally, I'll buy the spells, gladly. Heal helmet, eh. that cube, believe and wait for the guy to move, he will. Iron Gauntlet, so he'll get out of there. Oh, the heal helmet is equipped with the Fire Ninja.
The treasure chest in the waterfall is not that. It's kind of terrible, except for the heal helm, though.
Yeah, able to equip the heal helmet. Casts heal 2 for free, by the way, so it's useful early levels. Now, not so much. And we have a new viewer to the FF1 randomizers asking what's being randomized. The number one thing that's randomized is treasure location. Things that are pulled out of treasure chests are randomized, which can really change the order that you have to play the game in. Another big thing that is randomized is the enemy stats. In this round of the tournament, we see enemy stats up to 300%. What's the low? 50%?
Let me double check.
I actually have
those
this open if I look at it.
25,
33%.
33%. There you go.
Okay, so if something had 1000 HP, it could go down to 330 HP, it could go up to 3000 HP. That's the kind of scale we're looking at.
Did Tristal check for out of bounds bat?
We didn't see it. Crystal, meanwhile, looks to be doing the bottle chain now, as he's got 2 orbs restored. It'd be very interesting now to see what Tristal does next. I imagine with the slab translated and having the cube, he will do air next and earth last, but I've been wrong before and it'll happen again.
If it was me... Oh! Girl sharks have gaze, though.
By the way, probably worth checking the treasures in here. Okay, that is an interesting find. Crystal just found the adamant. The reason that catches my eye more than anything is that just made it, what would be the odds, 25% or 35%, something like that, more likely that that Ice Cave incentivized chest is something that they would want. Moss Immune or another ribbon.
Or worse, the ruby.
Well, you had 2 good results for that, and 2 bad ones, because the adamant and the ruby would be the bad result, the ribbon and the moss immune would be good ones. So, taking one of the bad options out now makes it a higher percentage play. Be interesting to see if Crystal acts on that information. And in chat, someone speculating about the odds of what's in it. It's actually not a double draw on the ribbons in the code. It's only 1 draw for a possible ribbon. So it's 33% odds on there, not 25%, because it doesn't draw twice for the ribbon. Otherwise, it'd be more likely to be the ribbon than anything else.
By the way, Introver's asking if Ordeal is incentivized in round 1, and it is actually Introver.
And that is where we found the crown. So it really paid off for these runners.
The question is, how will TFR will treat the runners? That would be the biggest question in their heads.
Well, if you had any doubts about what the difference the black belt makes, you just saw it from xIceblue punching that image for over 1000 damage. And you're about to see it from Tristal punching Kraken. 946 damage and Kraken is terminated. And these ghosts are an unrunnable encounter, by the way. So the second orb is relit for Tristal.
Question in chat. Normal time range for this randomizer. It really depends on the flags, to be honest.
And the other big difference is the item placement. And in this case, the item placement was fairly generous. And we're also looking at two very, very good runners. So we're going to see this seed completed about as fast as these flags could be completed. And now xIceblue does find the adamant, so like Tristal he now has that information that you've got a 2/3 chance of that incentivized ice cave chest being something you want. And Tristal will head to the earth cave, so we'll get a sense of where these runners are pretty soon, because who gets their fiend down first?
Ooh, and these lobsters hit hard too, actually.
Oh, they can do that. Now, one of those other little advantages that we didn't talk about with the high-level black belt is your run chances have been fixed with the randomizers, so they're based more on level and luck. So when you've got the really high-level character in slot 1, you're going to be more likely to get away from a fight. And these things have some HP.
And don't forget that other advantage of the black belt, if it's high level, that he has a chance to scare the enemies off.
Yeah. Now this is not the best spot to be in, but that black belt should be able to carry through the whole dungeon, so it's unfortunate that you lost the ability to cast life on the rest of your party, but that is not going to be enough to scare him away from the Kraken fight. I guess Chad is debating the monetary value of Agmas, and y'all have at that one.
I think you're thinking like if they drafted like how Jar does this in his stream though, but who knows?
And xIceblue is just going to punch Kraken because that's all he can do. He gets 600 damage, which is not enough to kill Kraken. 700 damage, though, will be a total of 1300, and that'll be more than enough. Tristal does check that vampire chest and just gets a lot of gold he doesn't need. By the way, with class change, did they check the shops here?
In which town you're referring to?
Either Onrak or Gaia.
You know what? I did not see any of them go to the magic shops.
Although xIceblue did not class change.
I think he's opting that a black belt will be better than the master.
I gotta imagine he will do that before going to Temple of Fiends. Well, I shouldn't guess anything about runners, actually. He's got a good setup of magic. I could see not needing it. It's just a little bit surprising to me.
I'm guessing he's gonna change it after the 4th orb.
But hey, it's also worth noting this was round 4 flags. There's no easy runners left. You know you're against another really strong runner, so...
Yeah, these brackets have...
change a little.
These brackets are like the top of the cream of the crop, as we say it.
And Tristal is about to get to the Earth Fiend, and I incorrectly said we would get a sense of where the runners stood once Tristal got here, but what I forgot is Tristal did the waterfall as well, so actually what this is telling me is until we see xIceblue exit out of here, This is the lead that Tristal has, not the other way around. But it's just going to be mere seconds.
Yeah, xIceblue saying he's done with chess. He's gonna go straight to the last dungeon.
Both these runners still have Sky to do, but the question is, would you take that gamble on Ice Cave? They have just the one ribbon, and that's the biggest thing that would tempt me even more than the Masamune.
Well, if I was in their shoes, I'd say skip the Ice Cave immediately and just go straight to Sky Castle because you have more chests in there.
Well, you won't be checking all the chests, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them check one of the, or both of the first 2 floors. And xIceblue is gonna head on down to the supposedly advanced civilization that doesn't talk to the rest of the world. And Tristal will be right in his footprints.
I think this race is gonna be the closest they'll ever get in this high performance seed.
Yeah, we are just seeing 2 great runners play this at a really high level.
And 2 of them are actually I used to study under, because I actually watched Tristal first before watching xIceblue.
You know, the really interesting thing about this, though, is xIceblue attempted to go Ice Cave first, so he's actually made up some time on Tristal's route. Obviously, that he has a little bit of a lead right now. But what I was getting at is, he might have gotten bailed out by a bad enemy being in there, and forced him onto the right track where he went to Ordeals first and found the crown. And this is probably our last big chance for a route diversion between the 2 runners. One of them check treasure chests in the first floors of Mirage Tower, or will they both take a pass? And we get our answer from xIceblue.
Yep, xIceblue saying, nope, I am done.
Just the one ribbon, so there is some risk in this strategy. I don't want to oversell it and I don't want to undersell it, but there is definitely a risk in only having one ribbon. You do have the opal bracelet as well, though, so you got pretty decent setup for the black belt armor-wise.
And Tristal being the hero running away from the Tyro, so sorry Team 6, but you're gonna starve to death.
Oh, we got a whole bunch of vampires. And more vampires. Boy, this place is infested. Meanwhile, on xIceblue's side, his mages are level 21. That's actually pretty low, I would say, for Temple of Feeds in these type of flags, but I can't imagine you're going to go back and grind it now.
But he does have those pro capes on one of his wizards still, so he might be okay.
Yeah, it's just their hit points are going to be a bit lower, and their other stats will be lower as well, so they'll have a bit harder time surviving nasty AoEs if you run into them. xIceblue is going to check some treasure chests. He's going to check these 4. And gets the katana. So does Tristal make that same play?
The question is, will xIceblue make that change after Tiamat? xIceblue is above, I think he's about to hit level 40 soon if I'm not mistaken.
Well, Introper, since you didn't see the first half, why don't I run through what I found? With the incentivized ordeals, Tristal went there first and found the crown. XIceblue attempted to go to the incentivized ice cave, and he noped out of there after seeing Fire 3 at 2 lower levels, and then he went and found the crown. Let's see, after that, the Dwarf Cave in the 2 open chests had the floater. The Marsh Cave in the north side had the TNT. They didn't even check the south side.
Oh, by the way, we're on the bridge to today's Disney right now.
Come on, Warmack! And the volcano had the slab, so they had a very easy time finding the key items. No Warmack for Tristal.
The hero run he just pulled off.
Oh, the Bane strats. And Tiamat has thunder.
Ugh, that is not going to be a good time to... And there goes down the Black Mage.
So no temper. And he survived that first hit.
Seems like he might...
Fire 2.
Yeah, but I think he has a high absorb.
16 hits for 500 damage. That was a high absorb, so took a little extra work. Tristal gets there. And we have our 4th orb restored. XIceblue is about to find out the same information, but without his red mage.
And sorry for the people who love the Bridge of Disney, but no Wormex for today.
Only 200 damage on that first hit. So he will resort to the nuke strats to bypass that absorb, but the second hit is going to be good enough for XIceblue. And it looks like he's in the 20 to 30 second range behind Tristal now. Although, will he class change? But I imagine if he didn't do it yet, he's not going to.
And Tristal says, no more, I am going straight to TOFR right now, in an hour and 22 minutes.
Didn't even restock his items. I'm not sure how he was actually set on heal potions, but you definitely want them as a backup strat with the high level black belt. Because you're gonna fight on even if you're down to just that black belt.
He had 92 potions when I checked his menu.
Well, that'll do it.
Not if these Yasties have something to do with it.
They are an unrunnable fight. So a lot of Temple of Fiends comes down to the unrunnables that you get and how nasty their skills are. So less than a minute later, XIceblue has entered Temple of Fiends.
Ooh, Frosties have sleep.
And gaze. And the zombie dragon's unrunnable, but I don't think they're too scary at his levels. Of course, if they took his red mage out, that could be bad. Tristal goes for the validation chests, but doesn't get anything for it.
Just a bunch of cash that he doesn't need anymore.
And then he gets a bunch of unrunnables.
We didn't see anything what the Frostwolves have, right?
I don't think we've seen any skills or spells out of them. Oh, there's slow, which is going to eat up a bunch of time and you have to sit through 5 of these. Or they could just die to Fire 3 and that solves that issue. XIceblue is right on Tristal's heels. I hate to say this could come down to some just plain RNG between the two runners.
It's either RNG or the Fiends that are guarding each floor.
Ooh, 4 zombie dragons.
That'll stop you in your tracks for a while.
I think they're on pretty similar encounter tables. Tristal has taken more steps, though. So could potentially face an extra fight than xIceblue.
Ooh, and Zarya makes a good point. Chaos could have 6,000 HP for this round.
That's a lot to chew through, especially if he's got high absorber evade.
And don't forget, the Cure 4 is still in play.
You want to run through a little bit of what's still in play because we haven't seen it yet?
I will assure you, we have not seen. Let's see, triple nuke has not been discovered. A nuclear has not been discovered. A Cure 4 is still in the lineup somewhere. It could be anywhere at this point. We have not seen poison yet either, right? Neither the poison with the damage than the poison with the status, right?
We haven't seen it. I also don't believe we've seen death or stone touch. So could something they run into here that we haven't seen yet hold a really nasty skill?
And the odds of it is really high in this seed.
And the worm's unrunnable, but Wallen was kind enough to take off on its own. The Earth's also unrunnable, so this has been a very front-loaded, unrunnable encounter. Temple of Fiends. Lots and lots of them.
Ooh, in Trump's in posting a question on us, Trenton, he said he's considering taking out the run from the unrunnables out of the menu.
Well, I would have one reason for being against that. It's the fastest thing you can do with somebody who you don't want to do anything with.
Yeah, and especially with me in my hands, I'd rather run to do nothing than let my physical take over. Question in chat, is Steve fixing this version? It is kind of fixed. The run status are linked to your luck and level for the thief now, so thieves are kind of reliable in the early game. You want to add anything else, Trenton?
I'm sorry, I was distracted by Trad. I didn't hear you. My bad.
Question about the thief. Is thief fixed?
Well, there's ways in which it's definitely better. It's up front to help avoid ambushes. He didn't necessarily get a great weapon. In fact, I'm not even sure he has a weapon equipped to his ninja.
And Lich just got obliterated.
So I didn't see anything too scary out of Lich. Good and bad in that. Good because he didn't take out your casters too early. But he's got, looks like 1,000 or more HP. Yeah, I think that was around 1,100 for the first round for But he doesn't have 2,000 HP, so he goes down. And Tristal is to the carry fight. Fire floor is so nice, it's a really fast floor.
But I'm kind of worried about Tristal's mages because he only has like 7 charges of temper left.
And carry has nuke.
Well, there goes! Once the nukes are gone off the table.
Well, if he can get out of this with the red mage, he will still have life as an option. But he is not going to get past carry this round. And there's poison! Oh my, it's gotten interesting for Tristal. And meanwhile, xIceblue got through it in one hit. That could be major.
And that puts xIceblue in the driver's seat right now in the lead.
Yeah, although Tristal did get out of it with the red mage, so he's able to quickly life and cure 4 as if nothing. Well, actually, he's going to do potions instead of cure 4. Maybe save that cure 4 for battle.
Probably he's going to save the cure 4s for the Kraken fight.
xIceblue gets a pack of waters which are unrun. Not sure if we saw them in the Sea Shrine. I don't recall them. Looks like they're not hitting terrible, but their HP seems to be pretty up there.
The force classes were Red Mage and Black Belt.
And level 40 now for xIceblue's Black Belt, so he never got to 42. But he does have a level advantage over Tristal. And looks like Tristal will actually be the first to get to Kraken. Well,
Seafood Party Pack in the way. Ooh, and Sea Trolls have poison.
And Scorch, this is a lot to sit through. Will he get out of here? He does. Which, by the way, he could still face another fight like that before he gets off this floor. So could xIceblue.
xIceblue says, nope, I'm not gonna get you in another fight. He's gonna go straight to Kraken.
There could still be another fight after Kraken, so here's our first look at one of our possible gatekeepers. You put 300% stats on this Kraken, and you can get all kinds of insanity. Looks like his absorb is pretty good, he only took 200 damage. And our runners high-fiving here in the same fight.
So, by the way, Kraken has unleashed Slow 2 and Ice 2 so far in his list.
And Tristal has gotten by Kraken a bit easier than xIceblue did. And now xIceblue does. So we caught a glimpse of how scary these fiends could be. If he had had more HP, that would have been...
Oh, and unrunnables for xIceblue.
Wow. And those extra steps Tristal took to check the validation chests. Just think, that moved up a fight. That caused him to fight something sooner, which is how he's on a different encounter than xIceblue was.
Trenton, does xIceblue still have enough life charges, or is he out?
Well, I don't think he'll lose anyone to these waters. We didn't seem to see them be that nasty other than their HP. Although he may want to revive the White Mage. Just to absorb a hit. But he would have done that against Kraken if that was the plan. So I think his plan is to stick with 3. And it looks like this Tiamat does have some HP. But goes down to Tristal at the 133 mark.
And he doesn't even seem to hit hard either, so... Chaos is to be the ultimate factor if Tristal gets wiped out somehow.
And never take for granted that you're going to walk off this floor without a fight. xIceblue has finally gotten through those waters. Tristal will heal up for the final battle. And looming before it all, we have no idea what skills this Chaos will have. We have no idea how high hit stats will roll.
Because we still have 2 nukes and a nuclear still on the table on the Cure 4.
I think the worst thing you could see here would be a really high evade.
High bait and high absorb as well.
Starts with the tornado. And Crystal's going to go right with the power gauntlet strats and get that black belt up high before even testing the waters. Now he'll try an attack. And it looks like nothing too scary on this chaos, so...
Quad X was on the table for him.
And there it goes to a 70 damage Ice 3. Chaos falls at the 1 hour, 35 minute, 34 second mark. We congratulate Tristal on the first win in this best of 3 series. And wow, what a difference a few steps made, because I think a lot of that base came down to checking the validation chests. If Tristal hadn't taken that extra time, I believe he would have had the same water fight.
Actually, you cannot advance the encounter table on the validation chest areas.
Okay, then they did something else different. Tristal, good game to you, sir. And he might be having to prep his stream.
Sorry, I was on mute.
There he is.
Thank you very much. It was really tense.
Oh, it was so close. You were less than a minute apart going into TFOR.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I just see. Wow. Close one.
You two were neck and neck. That's how close it was.
We saw xIceblue get one more unrunnable fight on the water floor with the waters themselves, and that probably cost him his biggest chance.
And GG, xIceblue just finished with an hour and 37 on his timer.
Well, xIceblue is talking in the IRC, and Tristal, you just found out that Garland had Toxic.
Lucky me. Yeah, xIceblue talking about Wolves Head Cremate. Didn't see that either. Yeah, lots of stuff that I did not see.
Now then, the other big thing is he was actually going to do a different route and go to Ice Cave first when you went to Ordeals, but then ran into Fire 3 and just at too low levels, so he had to back out of there, go to Ordeals, and actually came out of there behind you.
Yeah, that makes sense. I figured I was probably ahead because the plot items weren't in Ice Cave and I chose to skip it. So I was hoping that would give me a nice advantage as soon as I found the slab.
It actually did.
Was there any one thing that really stood out to you on this seed, Tristal?
Thankful that red dragons were killable, as I had almost run out of options at that point. I want to just solo grind on fire elementals. That takes a little too long. But to get there, to get to level 21 on them is fine, but 21 to 32 isn't something I really want to do.
Yeah, we saw the Agmas were a bit chewy. Would you have gone back to them if the red dragon hadn't been that friendly?
Probably. The other thought, too, was just killing Carrie with who I had and just going to C or something like that to grind was another possibility. Would have been kind of awkward.
I was curious about one other thing, and I'd like to know if this at least crossed your mind. When you found the adamant, you were then talking about a 2 out of 3 chance that that ice cave incentivized was either the ribbon or the Masamune. Did you give it a thought?
speck of brain power went to that. We were in go mode. There's no way I'm going to Ice Cave and wasting 5 minutes just to grab one of those. I already had one ribbon, and with a level 32 black belt, I don't especially need Masmune, so not really a thought. Besides, it could have just been Ruby or something.
Yeah, fair enough.
Tristal, question from chat. What's your choice behind the thief?
Thieves have the highest chance to run of any of the characters, and that can be a real big help. Unfortunately, I didn't ever really find a weapon for my ninja, so he was pretty useless compared to most times when I have him. Usually you'll find one of the 2 katanas, or even just like an ice sword or something, and he'll be okay. But yeah, I didn't really find anything here, so he was just a decoy the entire time.
Well, it's interesting that we actually saw XIceblue check one extra room of chests. It's the Sky Castle, the 4 that are right next to the warp, and there he found a katana. So, for what it's worth.
Yeah, that might have helped, actually. That probably would have saved me a little time. Oh well.
So it's a best of 3, and you already know that XIceblue is a great runner and how close this one was. Any thoughts going forward in this series?
I mean, I was on edge this game. Him finishing within, 90 seconds of me, that's not going to help for the next 2 races. I fear for my heart to give out. Just, glancing back and forth at that SRL chat, knowing he could be hitting done at any time, pretty much.
You realize I put you to win this tournament, Tristal. So you better hope. I hope you do, dude.
Hope so too. There aren't a whole lot of people voting for me in the polls that keep cropping up, so I almost feel like I'm the dark horse. It's kind of weird. Voting for Edge myself, so there's that.
Fair enough.
Thief, like I kind of imagine a lot of people in chat are like, OMG, why a thief is so terrible. It is very different in Randomizer because Randomizer fixes the bugs where running chance checks some strange memory instead of actually taking care of your luck and agility, or however it actually works out. So it turns out thieves actually are good at something. So it's not just a troll class. There are reasons I'm picking it over fighter for sure.
Would you consider still picking the black belt for these kind of round seeds in round 4 and higher?
Something extraordinarily strange for me not to pick a black belt at this point. Like if the 2 force party members are fighter thief, then I get to think about it, because I don't especially love like fighter thief black belt red mage, because red mage alone as the only mage is sort of awkward. But beyond that, black belt's just so good, punches everything.
And XIceblue just joined us. GG XIceblue.
Yeah, I guess so. Toxic Garland lost me that race. Guarantee it.
You made a great comeback from though. In fact, you were at the lead at several points. Was probably really interesting to me was the Ice Cave decision that ended up working out for you when you got forced out.
The moment I saw Fire 3, I pieced. I was like, nope, I'm not dealing with the Wraith encounter the Wraith encounter that has Fire 3. No thanks.
The only difference between you two was actually the last encounter on the water floor, because you had the water pack XIceblue while Tristal had the seafood party pack.
Yeah, I'm not even worried about that. I don't think that was the determining factor. I think it was the fact that there was no save items in Canaria, and I got toxic by Garland. Lost 2 minutes there, and then I took a 6-pack wolf and took cremate to the face and lost more time there because I had to watch the bridge again.
Those were bad for sure, but I think actually the thing that made the difference was I chose not to go to Ice Cave at all. In that regard,
I only the moment I saw the Wraith encounter was on the 2nd floor, and the moment I saw Fire 3, I just immediately reset and left.
I had airship at that point, so that didn't cost you a lot of time.
Nope. It's just, like I said, it was the fact that I had to watch the bridge twice and Garland toxic. That's where that time was.
too, with all that bad luck and then me not going to Ice Cave, your run was, other than those 3 things, was quicker than mine. So that's something to look forward to for next race. I know it's going to be a challenge for both of us.
Well, I opted into after the charity race. I opted into black belt because that just seems to be the better way to go for this flag set.
Yeah, you can do good things with either, but I'm just so used to it at this point. I'll just keep on going with it until it stops working, basically.
I got a question for you, Tristal. What's your reasoning behind the fire grinding in the early levels of Volcano?
Plan is I want to be able to grind in the deeper parts of Volcano with the better enemies. Because I skipped Ice Cave, I don't get like a few incidental levels from eyes or wizards or whatever else I come across. Plus, I had to leave Ordeals early because I didn't really have enough spell charges to grind zombie dragons. So I needed to be able to get to the point where Black Belt could solo things, and that doesn't really happen until level 21. So one thing you can do is just grind on those fire elementals. I had more than enough houses at that point, thanks to the airship cleanup, that I could just exit out house and refill spell charges and dive back in, and I could gain a couple levels each time. And then by the time I'm like level 19 is about when I can go diving for the rest of it.
xIceblue, we had a question for you in
I'm about
chat
to
about
answer
the
that
white mages, and I'd like to just add to that. You also did that strategy of keeping the white mage down after seeing Fade at a low level.
The plan was to do the 3-man strat, and since black magic is much better than white magic pretty much 100% of the time, white mage just stayed dead. Also, his name was Dan, so I didn't see a reason for it, and you get much more experience with these percentages and ×4 and with 3-man, and that's what made it easier. Plus, Fade. Inconsistent damage half the time.
Well, we can't thank you enough for giving us a great race tonight. I think everybody's pretty hyped to see the next couple races between the two of you.
We hope it's entertaining, I guess.
Any final words from you to end xIceblue?
No, not really. Just Toxic Garland.
Yep, business as usual. I got lucky this time. He'll probably get lucky the next time, and then we'll have a good game 3.
Well, thank you both. Thank you, Tara Lynn, for being our tracker tonight. Thank you, Feasel and Speed Gaming, for being such a great partner for this tournament. And thank you to all of our viewers who tuned in and enjoyed a great race tonight. There's more ahead. Join us on the Discord. It's the best place to get information about all things with the randomizer, the game, and updates on the schedule of the tournament. We still have several matches ahead. Don't quite know when they'll be yet, but we should see more in the next week. Kaiden, any final words?
I got none, Triton. Just say good luck on your next few matches, Tristal and xIceblue. It'll be a good best out of 3.
Thanks, guys, and thanks for the commentary.
We'll say thank you to everyone, and good night.
See you next mission, everyone.